Hello everyone. The next topic which we will be going to study is about the prokaryotic cell. So do you understand by the term prokaryotic cell? So prokaryotic cells are those that lack a true nucleus and membrane bound organelles. And the example of the prokaryotic cell includes the bacteria and archaea. So let's start with the first slide. So what is a prokaryotic cell? Prokaryotic cell is a single cell organism. So as I have already discussed with you that these includes the bacteria and the archaebacteria. They are the free living parasites and all the important reactions takes place within the cytoplasm. So all the organelles are present in the cytoplasm itself. So if we talk about the structure of the prokaryotic cell, it is generally spherical and rod shaped, or it can be spiral as well. So this is what a structure looks like. It has many components, such as it has capsules, it has a flagella in it, it has a pili, it has a cell membrane, it has a cell wall itself. Then the cytoplasm is present within uh, within this portion. The cytoplasm is present. Then there are ribosomes, there are plasmids, and there is a nucleoid region which is also present there. So it has its own genetic material in it. So a prokaryotic cell, if we want to just summarize it, a prokaryotic cell does not have a nuclear membrane. The genetic material is present in a region in the cytoplasm which is called as the nucleoid. We have discussed that. And they are generally of spherical, rod shaped or spiral in shape. And there are many components such as cell wall, cell membrane, pili, flagella, nucleoid, ribosomes, plasmids, capsules, etc. What are the main characteristics of a prokaryotic cell that makes it a unique thing and that makes it different from the eukaryotic cell? So what are the characteristics? First, they have lack a nuclear membrane. So first thing is that they lack a nuclear membrane. There are various cell organelles which are absent in case of prokaryotes, and that cell organelles includes the mitochondria, Golgi apparatus, chloroplast, lysosomes, and they are absent in the prokaryotic cell. The genetic material is present on a single chromosome. So the genetic material here is termed as DNA, and the DNA is present on a single chromosome. If we talk about the histone proteins, the important constituent of eukaryotic chromosomes, they are lacking in them. So they are lacking in prokaryotic cells. So eukaryotes, they have histone proteins which is bind on DNA. So they do not have such kind of histone proteins on them. The cell wall is made up of carbohydrates and amino acids. So the cell wall which is present around the prokaryotic cell, it has it is made up of carbohydrates and amino acids. It also has a plasma membrane which acts as the mitochondrial membrane, and they carry some respiratory enzymes in it. So they carry the respiratory enzymes. They divide asexually by the process of binary fission, and sexual mode of reproduction includes the conjugation. So we will be discussing both of these mechanisms in detail. Now this is what a structure of a prokaryotic cells looks like. So there is a bacterial flagellum which is present here. There is a capsule, there is a cell wall, then there is a plasma membrane which is also present. There is a DNA nucleoid. They have mesosomes, they have ribosomes, these are the ribosomes, and the cytoplasm in which all these organelles are present, and all the major functions they are performed in case of the cytoplasm. Now, the prokaryotic cell structure, we have discussed that these are the main important components, or these are the main things which are present on the prokaryotic cell. So what is it? There is capsule. So what a capsule is? A capsule, it is an outer protective covering found in the bacterial cells. So the prokaryotic cell example is bacterial cell. So it is the outer protective covering found in the bacterial cell, and in addition to the cell wall, it helps in the moisture retention, protects the cell when engulfed, and helps in the attachment of cells to nutrients and surfaces. So this is what a capsule plays a role in case of the prokaryotes. Next comes the cell wall. So what a cell wall does? Cell wall is, it is the outermost layer of the cell which gives shape to the cell. So cell wall gives the shape to the cell. Next is cytoplasm, where all the major functions takes place. So it is mainly composed of enzymes, salts, cell organelles, and it is a gel-like component. So it is a gel-like component. Then comes the cell membrane. What a cell membrane is? Cell membrane is a layer which surrounds the cytoplasm, and it regulates the entry and exit of substances in the cell. So this is what a cell membrane is. Next comes villi. So what is it? These are the hair-like growths that attach to the surface of the bacterial cell. So these are the hair-like growths. Then comes the flagella. So flagella, this is the flagellum, bacterial flagellum, which is being depicted here. So what a flagella does is, they are long structures in the form of web and helps in the locomotion of the cell. So it helps in the locomotion of the cell, locomotion or in the movement of the cell. Next is ribosomes. So these are involved in the protein synthesis. So ribosomes are involved in the protein synthesis. Plasmids, they are non-chromosomal DNA structures and they are not involved in the reproduction. So plasmids, they are not involved in the reproduction, but they are non-chromosomal DNA structures. Though it is not represented in the figure, but these are the main structures of a cell. Then the nucleoid region. It is the region in the cytoplasm where the genetic material is present. So genetic material is present here. So here this has been shown that this is a nucleoid. DNA nucleoid has been shown here. So it is present in the cytoplasm and the genetic material is present in it. So if we talk about all these things we have talked about, now prokaryotic cell, it lacks certain organelles like mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum and Golgi apparatus. So these are some of the organelles which lacks in the prokaryotic cell. Next comes is the components of the prokaryotic cell, that what are the main components of the prokaryotic cell and that are also present in the eukaryotic cell. So these are the main four components that are also present in the eukaryotic cell. So this is one of the similarity in case of the prokaryotes and the eukaryotes. The first is plasma membrane, which is an outer protective covering of the phospholipid molecules, and it separates the cell from the surrounding environment. So as it was being depicted in the figure itself, that this was the plasma membrane, the inner one was the plasma membrane. So it is covering the phospholipid molecules and separates the cell from the surrounding environment. Next is cytoplasm. Cytoplasm we have discussed, it is a jelly-like substance which is present inside the cell, and all the major functions that are present are in the cytoplasm itself. So this is a gel-like consistency which is the cytoplasm, and all the cell organelles are suspended in it. So all the cell organelles are present in the cytoplasm. Now the DNA, it was being depicted in the figure itself that this was termed as the nucleoid DNA. So what it does, it's the genetic material of the cell. So DNA is the genetic material of the cell, and all the prokaryotes, they possesses a circular DNA. It directs what protein the cell creates, and it also regulates the action of the cell. So it helps in the action of the cell. Next is ribosomes. So ribosomes was also being depicted in the diagram. So here the protein synthesis occurs. So if we talk about ribosomes, then the protein synthesis occurs in the ribosomes. Next is there are uh, two ways by reproduction in prokaryotes takes place. First is asexually. which is by the process of binary fission, and sexually by the process of conjugation. So asexual reproduction has been divided into many parts. For example, they have been divided into fission, binary fission, fragmentation, budding. So these are all the categories of asexual reproduction. So in which the prokaryotes includes the bacteria and archaea, and they are produced by the process of binary fission. So what is happening in binary fission is the DNA of an organism, it replicates and new copies attach to the cell membrane. So the cell wall starts increasing in size and start moving inwards, and a cell wall is then formed between each DNA dividing into two daughter cells. So for example, this is a cell. After the process of binary fission, it will be converted into the two daughter cells. So this is how the binary fission takes place. Now, sexually by conjugation. So in this process, basically what is happening, the genes are transferred between two bacteria through a protein tube which is called as the pilus. So this is what a conjugation process, this is how a conjugation process occurs in prokaryotes through sexual reproduction by the process of conjugation. Now, what are the examples of prokaryotic cells? So this was also discussed in the first slide itself, that this includes the bacterial cells and the archaebacteria. So what is happening is, bacteria, they are unicellular organisms, and they are found everywhere on the earth, from the soil to the human body. So they are present on everywhere on the earth. They have different shapes and sizes and structures. The cell wall that a bacterial cell has, it is composed of peptidoglycan, and it provides the structure to the cell wall. So the main function of the cell wall is to provide the structure to the cell. So this is what happening, the cell wall will provide the structure to the cell. So bacteria, they have some unique structures, pili, flagella and capsule. So they have these specific functions which are present. Then they also possesses extra chromosomal DNA which is known as plasmids. So they have extra chromosomal DNAs known as plasmids. They have the ability to form tough dormant structures known as endospores, and it helps them to survive through unfavorable conditions, and these endospores will become active when the conditions are favorable again. So this is what a bacterial cell, characteristics or functions of bacterial cell is. So bacterial cell, first of all, is an example of prokaryotic cell. It is a unicellular organism. It is present everywhere on the earth. If we talk about from the soil to the human body, it is present everywhere. It have different shapes and sizes. The cell wall, which is made up of peptidoglycan, it basically gives the structure to the cell. It has some unique structures such as pili, flagella and capsule, and it has an extra chromosomal DNA which is known as plasmid. So this was all about the bacterial cell. The next example we will talk about is archaeal cells. So archaebacteria, they are unicellular organisms similar to the bacteria, which is in shape and size. So another example is archaebacteria, which is very similar to the bacteria in case of the shape and size. So they are found in extreme environments such as hot springs and other places, and such as soil, marshes and even the inside humans. So just like the bacteria, the archaebacteria is also present everywhere, from soil to the human body. So they are also present in the soil and human body. They also have the cell wall and flagella, but the cell wall of the archaea does not contain any peptidoglycan. So this is the main difference between a bacterial cell and the archaebacteria, that the cell wall does not made up of peptidoglycan. The membranes of the archaea have different lipids with a completely different stereochemistry. So the archaebacteria has different lipids. The membrane of archaebacteria have different lipids. So just like the bacteria, the archaea have one circular chromosome, and they also possesses plasmids. So this is the similarity in case of the bacteria. So archaebacteria is a unicellular organism. It is an example of prokaryotic cell. It is found in the extreme environments, for example, hot springs and other places. It is also present in the soil and the human body. They have a cell wall and a flagella, but the cell wall of archaebacteria does not contain the peptidoglycan. The membrane of the archaea, they have different lipids with a different stereochemistry. And archaebacteria also have one circular chromosome, and they also possesses the plasmids. So this was all about the prokaryotic cells, the examples of prokaryotic cells, the structures, the components of the prokaryotic cells. These are some of the references. Thank you.